Greetings. You're listening to Rebels Remembered, featuring Caitlin DeFord and Kelsey DeFord.
Greetings, travelers from across the galaxy. I am Caitlin.
I am Kelsey.
And this is Rebels Remembered. And this week we're discussing Season 2, Episode 10, Future of the Force. This one aired on December 2nd, 2015, so we're getting close to that when it originally aired, where they'd split the season up and then you have to wait till the spring or the winter to catch the other remaining half. The plot for this one reads, after the Empire's Inquisitors begin targeting select babies for abduction, Ahsoka and the Ghost crew investigate. What they find is unsettling, and it leads to a confrontation with the children's fates hanging in the balance. It was written by Bill Wolkoff and directed by Sam Ruiz. Also, the name Future of the Force, it heavily implies, I know this now, but at the time I guess I was dumb, the future of the Force, so that means what is basically it's in the title, like what is the future of it going to be, and that's like the children.
And also I think also the future of the Jedi Order specifically. Yeah. Because this is after they've all been, some of them have been killed off. Mm-hmm. And then you're gonna have, like, the Force doesn't end though, so you're gonna have babies that have Force abilities. And there's, like, a lot of parallels between them and Ezra, because Ezra showed those abilities. I'm assuming he showed them when he was a kid. Like, younger.
I'm sure, yeah.
But, yeah. So, like, some parallels to that as well. So there's some trivia here. The infant that is captured at the beginning is named Alora. This is a nod to Elora Danan, who sets the plot in motion for the Lucasfilm Willow. I've never seen Willow, but that's just one of the little pieces of trivia that they have on StarWars.com and Wikipedia. The planet that they visit in this episode is, I can't pronounce it, but it's either Takobo or Takobo. This is from Star Wars Trivia on StarWars.com. It says, may or may not have its name derived from the fact that the dining option on that day of the writers' conference was a taco bar.
Interesting.
So again, like, I know things in Star Wars can't just be like a normal name. Yeah. But you're still gonna pull from things that you're around you. Or,
right.
You know, I do wonder if someone was just eating a taco and went, Takobo, that's a nice name, you know, for this next episode. I don't really know. But
I'm sure in the writer's room it was probably like, hey guys, taco bar. Taco bar. Taco bar? I'm sure it started like that, and then it slowly started kind of...
Yeah, I kind of want to be in that meeting, though, to see how that went. There is what's called a Tuca doll. This is specifically the one that Ezra gives, or picks up, and says, we'll get Pipey back. So I think it belongs to Pipey, the little Ithorian baby in this. The Tuca doll was actually first seen in Clone Wars. It was owned by Numa, who we see later.
Okay.
In her journey of being rescued. There's a whole episode. I can't think of the episode's name. That's where it sort of first appeared, and then it appears again. Okay. So I don't know if it's just a Ryloth thing, or it's a galaxy-wide doll that's mass-produced. I don't know. So that was pretty interesting.
Like we've already established that Season 2 is a little bit more grim than Season 1. This one, again, has a very chilling opening.
I think a lot of the whole episode is very foreboding. Yeah. Like, in itself. But yeah, that opening, let's see, we've got a passenger ship captured by an Imperial-class Star Destroyer. One stop with the ship, this Inquisitors board searching for a child. They find the infant, known as Alora, that we said earlier, with her grandmother, Darja, which I don't even know if her name is actually mentioned.
I don't think so.
In the show. Who tries to make a run for it, but is eventually cornered. She warns them to stay away from her granddaughter, but the seventh sister, so we've got the seventh sister and the fifth brother returning for this episode. I think the last time we saw them was Always Two There Are.
Yeah.
When Zeb
It's been a hot minute since we've seen them.
It's been quite a bit, yeah. And they assure her that they only wish to make friends, and that there's some business to attend to. The fifth brother then ignites his lightsaber, spins it, and throws it, and then it's the logo at the beginning. So what did you think when you first watched this? Like,
ooh. I think that's what I said. I was like, ooh, this is, like...
Well, it even has, like,
that's all I can say about it.
It even has, like, this little music speaking, like, dun, like a very, like, dark kind of thing. But again, I think it goes to what you were saying about Just the season in general being more foreboding in
Yeah.
general. This plot is all copied from Wikipedia, by the way. Just gonna give them a shout out.
Most of them are when we talk about
I would say
them.
all of them are. The plot lines
All of
are
them,
copied,
yeah.
So after that, we have on Gorel. So they're still on Gorel. I don't remember. It's been a hot minute. I don't remember when they first established Gorel as their base, like the Phoenix Squadron
Yeah.
base. So I don't know when that was. So we have Ahsoka showing up again. And she pays a visit to Kanan with Jedi business to discuss, and they decide to discuss it in private and board the Ghost. Then she begins briefing Kanan on her recent investigation about the Sith Lord they faced, and I find it very interesting that she's saying that she's monitoring specific transmissions that are around Mustafar.
Right.
I think that's interesting because we've already established that Mustafar is where Jedi go to die.
Well, also in later canon, it was established that's kind of Vader's base of operations.
Oh yeah, the castle thing that we
went to a tangent
way
about,
too far
yeah.
into. Yeah, is there? So I think that's interesting. So she's learned more about the Inquisitors and reveals they have a secondary mission to make retrievals. She says retrievals, and at the moment we don't know what that means as a viewer. And even Kanan's like, well, we know they're hunting Jedi. I don't know what else they could be doing. So she has 2 sets of coordinates. And she decides to have them split up. So she's going to look at the first one, and then Kanan's going to look at the second one. And then we have that little moment with Ezra listening outside the door, so he already knows what the mission is, which is really funny.
And what I love about this is she tells us to take Zeb just in case they run into the Inquisitors, because he kind of proved himself last time. But also what I love about it too, about this episode, is like, it's guy time. It's guy time, you know?
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
It's all the guys. It's, Ezra, Zeb, Kanan, and Chopper. So, yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting that it would be them, though, and then you get to the plot and it's about babies. So it's just kind of funny.
Yeah, I think also, like, probably I'm sure the writers are like, yeah, he's proved himself, but also we need humor. And Zeb and trying to care of a baby is going to cause a lot of interesting interactions. So they depart. So specifically, Ezra, Kanan, and Zeb and Chopper depart from Gorel and arrive on the planet Takobo. Again, never stated in the show.
Mm-mm.
It's just like, where? Wipe. And so you don't even know what the planet's called. So they land in the city, which I have to commend the animators here, because the lighting and the way the city is kind of like the environment, it looks really cool, especially when we get later into the chase sequence with Kanan and Zeb.
I will say, and I know it's just because of budgeting, it's kind of quiet. Like,
Yeah, that was the only problem I had with it. Until we get to the chase scene where you see actual vehicles flying, the streets are pretty empty. So
yeah.
So the coordinates are actually housing units, which kind of throws them off a little bit. They're like, why are they going to a house for whatever reason? So Kanan gets orders. This is the part I don't get. He orders Chopper and Zeb to investigate the spaceports in case to spot the Inquisitor's ship, and then him and Ezra are gonna go check out the housing unit. I still don't know why they split up there. I guess to cover more ground.
I guess he sent them to see, just make sure have they already arrived. But yeah, it is kind of odd that he would give them that to Zeb and Chopper.
Like, why didn't y'all go there first and then spread out? Or
right.
But maybe it's just to cover more ground, so we're not having to go back and forth.
Also, it'd probably draw less attention when we're all together.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, meanwhile, we got Ahsoka, who's flying a ship, and she finds the ship the Inquisitors attacked at the beginning, and finds Darja. The ship is fairly deserted and damaged, and then after her interaction with Darja, she realizes that Alora, the baby that was kidnapped, is actually Force sensitive.
My only qualm with this part is, you think they would have killed her.
I actually have it in my notes. I said, hard to believe she's still alive. I think that's for both her and Pipey's mom. It doesn't make sense why they weren't just all killed, got rid of. There's no witnesses, nothing's left.
Yeah.
So I did find that kind of, I guess because I need to know why they're trying to capture them, but I don't know, it just felt kind of weird to me.
I also wrote that, she, Ahsoka's trying to, talk to this lady, and she says the word "she has it." This is kind of interesting for me for Ahsoka, because I don't know what specific episode it is, but there's a specific episode in Clone Wars where this exact same thing was happening, where kids were being taken because of Force abilities.
Yeah.
So I feel like at this moment she's like, oh, I think at this moment Ahsoka knew what they were doing.
Yeah, she mentions it at the end of the episode, like, this has been done before. Got in my notes, it's Children of the Force. So instead of Future Force, it's Children of the Force. It's in season 2 of Clone Wars. It's written by Henry Gilroy, oddly, and some other writers. His the name, this one stuck out to me because of Rebels, but yeah. Sidious hires Cad Bane to kidnap all of these Jedi children because he wants to brainwash them into working for him.
Yeah.
And do some kind of surgery so they can follow him blindly. He doesn't really care about them. They're kind of disposable. But it ends with, of course, they're not going to know Sidious is the one doing it.
Right.
But yeah, it sort of calls back to that. So I think you're right. I think she has some experience with it, so she kind of knows what she's talking about.
And also I think at this point, like I said, she knows, oh, that's why they're taking this kid. But, so that's why I think Kanan is kind of a little bit more not sure.
Yeah, people were, in some of the reviews that I read online, were tearing Kanan apart for him not to know that that's what they were doing. But, I don't know. Maybe, again, it just didn't faze him or strike him that that's what was happening. Or
I don't think like I said, he doesn't have that. Ahsoka's aware of it because it's happened before. He wasn't on that mission. He has no idea about that. But also, I don't think that he would think that would be the Inquisitors' first thing that they would do. You know what I mean? I feel like they would be hunting down current Jedi like him and others.
Yeah. I mean, it suits their ammo, but not really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So back on Taco Zeb and Chopper are searching the spaceports. They haven't found any sign of the Inquisitors, but then they finally find 2 advanced TIE fighters under guard by one of these probe droids. I hate probe droids, but specifically the ones that are owned by the Seventh Sister, because I don't know, they're just creepy.
Yeah, I don't like them.
They seem almost sentient, like they're her pets or something.
Yeah. They're just annoying, like they're in the way.
Yeah. So, of course, Zeb shoots it down. They enter the bay intending to destroy them, but before they can begin planting the explosives, they discover that Alora's in the cockpit. They can hear her crying.
And then Zeb says, I hope that's not a baby Inquisitor in there. And he's like, no, we'll get the baby and then blow up the ship, Chopper. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, that little line is like, yeah, Chopper being a murder bot again, but now he's taking it too far.
Like a baby, Chopper, come on.
Also, I think it's interesting that we see Chopper's got some fear from that probe droid because of what happened last time when he got beat up by them. He's got some fear for that probe droid.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's kind of shaking. Like, he's like, come on. He's like... He's like, he got some trauma from being attacked in that other episode.
I didn't notice that.
Meanwhile, Kanan and Ezra arrive in an apartment looking for the apartment they're looking for, and find that the place has been ransacked, and an injured female Ithorian named Ura, which is interesting that Kanan can actually understand that language.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. Yeah. So she tells them that the Inquisitors came looking for her child, Pipey, but she managed to send him away with a droid before they could get to him. So they promise her that they're going to find the baby, or her baby, and they soon head out to search. And then Kanan tells Aura to go to the docking bay where the Phantom is as soon as she can. Again, I don't know why Aura is alive.
Yeah.
Maybe because it's a cartoon or something.
Well, it's almost like plot convenience. We need someone to tell them where the kid is.
So maybe it's just a matter of needing the plot to be for them to understand what's happening, but still, it's kind of weird.
Yeah,
it's a matter
they
of
would just leave
convenience.
her there. Yeah,
like the one witness we need to talk to is still alive.
Right.
I found that funny, and when they even find Darja, correct me if I'm wrong, but is there anyone else on that ship? Mm-hmm. Okay, so convenient. Yeah, but we can overlook that, I guess.
Oh, Zeb and Chopper have gotten back to the Phantom with the baby they found, Alora. And Kanan informs him about the other baby that they found. And he tells him that you need to be on the lookout for it because the droid, has it or whatever, and you need to find it before the Inquisitors do. And of course, conveniently, here's another thing on convenience, I think, which I'm trying not to dock it too bad.
Yeah.
They do find the droid, and he's got like a little basket that has the little baby in. And And Zeb is actually pretty smart here.
Yeah.
Because when I first watched this, I was like, what are you going to do with the droid now?
Yeah, I thought that too.
And he's like, no, you go. I'll take the baby, but you need to be a decoy. I'm like, that's actually pretty smart.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it doesn't last long because the Inquisitors immediately find it after
That
that.
poor droid, he immediately turned that corner and got slashed, like, immediately after he said, go off, be a decoy, slash. Okay, well, that didn't last very long. And so, of course, the Inquisitors sense that Zeb is there. I don't know why it says sense in the plot summary, because he was literally right in front of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you don't have to sense much. They spot him, and Zeb makes a run for it. And then he goes into hiding in an apartment building. And all this is while this is happening, I think Zeb is communicating back to Kanan and Ezra about which apartment building he's in and what the coordinates are. They track him there, and of course, Seven Sister has to launch another one of those probe things again. Except this time, I don't know if this one just had an off day. But he's just kind of floating around the apartment building, and then Ezra and Kanan almost run into it, and then, Kanan pulls Ezra back and says, oh yeah, this is definitely the place because that thing's floating around.
Well, what's interesting about that part is, she goes in to follow Zeb, and she's like, you can be my eyes out here, talking to that little creepy thing. And what's interesting here is Kanan hasn't faced these guys. This is the first time he's faced them.
I didn't think about that.
So when he's running up to the apartment building, Ezra spots the little droid. He's like, hey, Kanan, this is the place. Because he doesn't know about how they work
I didn't
or
think about
anything
that.
like that.
I thought Kanan... No, I'm thinking about later when Kanan pulls Ezra behind a wall in the apartment building. Okay, yeah, that's interesting because this is the first time that Kanan will actually meet them.
Yeah.
But yeah, this little probe droid, though, he, goes higher up in the air, and he's just kind of looking around, and then literally they run in when he's looking the other way. When he's looking the other way, and I'm like, that's classic video game. I don't want to take the time to shoot it. I'm just gonna,
stealth
bomb and weave and do a stealth thing. Which I do wonder where it went after that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know which entrance they came out of.
Is it the same one that overhears Ezra?
Oh, it might be. Okay, so maybe he's not the worst. I forgot about that. They dodge the probe droid and they get into the apartment building where Zeb and Pipey are. And once inside... Now, here's where I really got confused plot-wise, is that Chopper is no longer with them.
Yeah.
I guess he stayed on the Phantom with the other baby.
Oh, I think Zeb gave him the baby at some point and said go take him to the Phantom.
Okay, that must have been when he was going to get Pipey.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now we just have, I think Allura is with Chopper in the Phantom.
Oh, okay. They find Zeb, and he brings them to the little room where he's keeping the baby. He's calmed down, but when he sees Ezra, he begins to cry in fear, which... I don't know exactly what happened. It's like Ezra just kind of walked up to it. Maybe he just looked at him, and I don't know if he made a face. I don't know. But even Zeb was like, I told you not to bother him. So I was like, was he sleeping? I don't think he was.
I will say that this whole moment where the guys are trying to calm him down was funny. That happens, I think, throughout this episode where they're trying to calm the baby down.
Yeah, so you got Zeb who's completely doesn't know what to do. There is a part where he, pats him on the bottom, so he's, trying. And you got Ezra's like, why does it like me? And then Kanan's like, I don't know, you can connect with it. And he kind of pushes it off on Ezra, I don't know what to do. So, unfortunately, because Ezra made it cry, the Inquisitors can hear it crying down the hallway. And they find the apartment where the rebels were hiding. This part freaked me out because, we got super close to someone getting shish kebabbed twice. Because you got Kanan who senses that, I think it's the fifth brother. I don't know who's on the other end. The other end of the lightsabers.
They're below him, yeah.
And then he's like, Zeb, move out of the way. And someone, I don't know if it's his fifth or seventh, whoever, sticks the lightsaber through it, almost shish kebab Zeb, and then someone gets this close to Kanan's face on the other side, and I'm like, dang. So of course, they run upward. So I really like this part because you've got Kanan and Ezra cutting the hole in the little apartment building to go upward. I don't know, just seeing them both use their lightsabers cohesively looked really cool, because it's oh, it's like, oh, Jedi Padawan thing. That's so sweet. I don't know why I like that. And of course they escape. But there's a lot of running in this episode, I will say.
Yeah. I will say that
it's
too.
Like, run! They found us. Run again! They found us, kind of thing.
They get out of there, but Ezra still can't keep the kid quiet. And Kanan kind of answers his own question when he says it senses your fear. It's what do you mean it can sense my fear? And that's when he's like, aha moment, which I feel like I can kind of see why people were kind of doo-dooing on Kanan but in fact, he didn't know. I don't know why people think he should know everything. He doesn't. So that's when he realizes that they're force sensitive, and that's why they're after them.
But I do think we also see Kanan kind of being resourceful as well. When Ezra's like, it won't stop crying, so they're going to follow it. And then he has the idea to use the communicator, keep your communicator on, and they are able to fool, at least fool Fifth Brother into thinking that they're in a room when they're really not.
And I love how when they find the little comm link, he looks at it with disdain and the sister laughs, and I thought that was funny.
Yeah, and then he crushes it. It's like she's like showing the light that she was right and you were wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So meanwhile we've got Ezra they decide to split up. And then we have Kanan who says, well, they're after Jedi, so I'm going to volunteer myself and go with Zeb, and they'll hopefully follow me instead of you. And then Ezra is very hesitant at the beginning, but he's like, yeah. Once Kanan explains, well, no, we made a promise to this mother that we're going to get her kid back to her, which is really sweet. So the only way to do that is if we, split up. And so Ezra gets in the ventilation shaft with little Pipey, and which is very frightening because the whole time, when they finally figure out he's in there, they start stabbing the ceiling.
That was so creepy, man. And then finally, Ezra the whole time is holding on to this little baby, and she keeps trying to say, calm down, and then finally he has this moment where he finally shuts him up. And it was really close until Kanan's like, hey! And they turn around.
I didn't think about that. Yeah. Ooh, they were almost dead. Yeah.
Oof. They turn around, they see Kanan there. And of course, again, this is his first time he's seen them. Dealing with them. He does, how they operate and all that stuff. What she says, the Seven Sisters says something to him, like, Kanan, oh, you've come out of hiding. I think that's what she says.
So like they're aware of him,
but
they've never met him. So that's her really weird way of introduction.
I
don't know, which is funny because it's Freddy's wife voicing Seven Sisters.
Right.
Yeah. I also like how Katie just runs at them and begins fighting them.
Yeah.
And not knowing what they're capable of. This was pretty cool. But also, he took down the granddaddy, so he's got that under his belt.
So bring him on. I'll get,
Keep sending them.
Really don't, but
yeah. So Ezra makes it out of the building and heads back to the Phantom with Pipey, unaware that the probe droid, I don't know if it's the same one, it probably is.
He kind of floats back down.
Yeah, it's like, all creepy. And of course he reveals, hey, you should join us on Gorel. Basically outing where their base is.
We have a little lightsaber fight between Kanan and Seven Sister. Meanwhile, Zeb is like jumping on his Fifth Brother and trying to beat him down.
It's like, I'm gonna do whatever I have to. I'm not I can't wield the lightsaber, but I'm gonna try something. Zeb's just like, okay, this isn't working.
Yeah.
This isn't getting us anywhere. You're pretty much even. So he literally grabs Kanan and then starts running with him. And then Kanan shoots the window with his blaster, which is really, really boss.
And then they jump out the window, not knowing what's below them. Mm-hmm. And they land in that speeder, and I remember that line, I love it so much, is when Zeb says, he laughs, he's like, a speeder! How'd you know? And Kanan's like, I didn't. And it's like, oh, what?
Like, what? The Inquisitors get onto another speeder, and then there's like this chase to the city streets, which kind of more busy because you've got vehicles, but I really like the lighting and how the environment looks. It sort of reminds me of the chase scene in episode 2 with Obi-Wan. Kind of a little bit of that calling back to, I feel. During
the speeder chase, them dang lightsabers that you can throw. he throws, I think Fifth Brother is the one that throws it, and it cuts off one of the, I guess, wings or engines of the speeder and takes it out, and it kind of just careens down and crashes. And then it cuts to Ezra, which this part makes me mad. He gets back, but the door's locked, and he tells Chopper to open it, and why will not... Why? That I don't understand that. I still don't. I know later it's because Ahsoka has this grand entrance, but in this moment, why would Chopper open the dang door? And then he's like, Kanan, the door's locked. And he's like, I'm a little busy right now.
Yeah, it's like running with the thing. And that's another thing. They've opened doors with the Force before. Yeah. Picture the locking mechanism in your mind. Where was that at this moment?
Well, I mean, you can't really do two things at once here. Now you got the Inquisitors.
Ezra could.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he needed Kanan to help him. I don't know. But yeah, that is kind of stupid. I'll be honest.
I thought it was dumb. So Kanan, engages with the Inquisitors again, but I think they force push him back and knock him out. And the really cute part, which I know our sister Kylie loves this little shot where Ezra takes his lightsaber and he kind of points it, and you have a little pipe. He's holding Pipey in this hand, and Pipey's kind of like, ooh, like looking at it. Yeah. And it's so cute.
It's really cute. So I'm like, hey kid, no touchy.
Don't touch it. You can look at it. And I think, of course, Ezra's no match for them. Obviously, there's two of them.
He just gets force pushed back, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Of course, and then Ahsoka makes her grand entrance here. And we have not seen her engage in lightsaber fights or a lightsaber duel in Rebels yet.
Nope.
So for me, watching this episode, this was like the first moment I got to kind of see. Because I saw clips of her in Clone Wars, but I'd never really seen her like full force dual wielding lightsabers. So this is kind of like my first moment to see how she was in combat, which is really good. Especially when and I love this little moment where she says, take the youngling to the ship, and she winks at Ezra. I'm like, oh, it's about to get real here, I think.
Yeah, and then even Kanan's like, we gotta go back for her, and he's like, looks back, and she's just like fighting them with two lightsabers. Like, yeah, I think she's good,
She's good, we're gone. I also love the way she like jumps into, like does like a jump with her. Dang, girl.
Yeah.
This is just weird part where she like shuts them off after she takes out Fifth Brother.
Like she's surrendering.
Yeah, like she's surrendering or something, and then the Seventh Sister tries to strike her down. She grabs a hold of the mechanism and like shuts it off, which I thought that was kind of odd.
Well, remember who else did that? Vader did it in Siege of Lothal with Kanan's lightsaber.
Oh yeah, he did. I forgot about that.
So I also feel like it's calling back to that because that was her master. I don't know if she learned it from him, but yeah, the whole thing with her kind of and then with the music surrendering, it's like.
Also, the music here is amazing.
The music is good, but it gets to that part like, what is she doing?
Yeah, I'm like, huh? What?
I don't understand what's happening.
And then she force pushes Seventh Sister into a wall. I really wanted to punch her here. I don't know about you. Every time I see this scene, like, she's gonna punch her. Oh no, she's gonna force push her. Please punch her. I want to see that happen. And then she walks over to her with her lightsaber at her throat. And of course, this is when Imperial reinforcements are arriving and they're surrounding her, and she tells her that Lord Vader will be I can't remember
pleased at your capture or something like
that.
And then she says your master will have to wait, signaling for, I guess, the audience that there will be a meeting eventually between her and Vader.
Yeah.
Just not right now. And so she does a force jump, which is a very good force jump, I will say.
Yeah.
And then grabs onto the shuttle and swings herself in, and then they fly off. So now we got this cute little scene. We've got Pipey with his grandmother or mother in the shuttle, and then this is when she calls back to the Clone Wars episode.
Yeah.
So it says, Tano is already aware the Inquisitors are abducting Force-sensed children and remembers a similar attempt made by Sith Lord. The Sith Lord was Sidious, but they never figured that out. And the Jedi Order protected them, but since they all died out, the rebellion is now their only protection. So there's this sweet little moment. We've got Chopper with the two babies, and he's kind of like spinning them around and stuff. I did kind of want to see Alora reunite with her grandmother.
Yeah.
But her grandmother, I assume, is with the rebellion somewhere.
It's implied that she's going to return her to her grandmother.
Yeah, I think
we
it's
just don't get to
implied.
see that moment. You're right. I wish we got to see that moment.
Yeah.
I think.
Mm-hmm. So we got the Inquisitors coming back to their ships, and then they find the freaking probe droid recording
Yeah.
of Ezra saying, "You you can visit us on Cruel. And of course, we got the creepy, we would love to visit you.
Mm-hmm.
And
see, for me, that one was like, okay, the next episode is going to be very interesting. So what did you rate this episode?
I have it at a 6.5. I like the idea of, like, I do feel like kidnapping Force-sensitive children is something that has been done before, not only just in Clone Wars, but also maybe some Legends out there. I feel it's been done before. So I do like that storyline. I like the lightsaber fights with the Inquisitors and Ahsoka, and like the banter between Zeb has with trying to take care of the babies, like all of them not knowing what to do with Pipey. But I will say, if there's a lot of running. At times it does feel a little bit monotonous to me.
Okay.
A little bit. So I dinged it for that and the plot consistency with people being alive just to be alive to get plot points. So I gave it a 6.5.
So when this episode first came out, I loved this episode. I wrote 8 out of 10.
Oh.
But after discussing it with you, I'm going to lower it to a 7.
You don't have to do that. Like, think for yourself.
Well, I never really thought about the stuff you mentioned, because I think I was still looking at it. I love this episode. I'm going to watch it. I'm still looking at it not objectively. So I think now going through some of the plot and things that, like, that for convenience, like, I'd say a 7 out of 10. But it's still a really good episode to me.
Yeah, I think it's definitely not, like, a strong emotional...
Yeah. Well, it's paced well.
I mean...
We're going to fight about it? No, I'm kidding.
No, we're not going to fight about it. It's just, in my opinion, I just didn't really care for the pacing.
The only thing is, at the end, and I didn't really think about this until later, my dad brought it up, or our dad brought it up later. What happened to the children? And I'm like, what do you mean? And I realized it felt abandoned, because later, it was never talked about, because at the end, Kanan's like, well, I guess that falls to us now to take care of these Force-sensitive children. And they never discuss it again. They never talk about it again.
Yeah.
And we never really get to see the Inquisitors still doing this.
Yeah, that's something that I wrote in my notes as well, is, one, I had a question about, will the rebellion be hiding all Force-sensitive children and their families? How are you going to know someone's Force-sensitive? And I think that's... where it's easy to do that when there's a Jedi temple,
right.
They're training younglings, they're Force-sensitive. But when it's, the Jedi Order is non-existent, I mean, how did they get the coordinates for this one ship that this child was on? How do they know she was Force-sensitive? Like, how do you know a child is...
Well, probably spies and people, informants, and things of that nature, I'm sure.
Like, is there, like, a bounty on children? Like, hey, if you see something about some kind of, like, a child raising a rock, like...
I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, the Inquisitor's main job is to hunt Jedi, but also they're trying to prevent and maybe even make their own little Inquisitor baby army, which is terrifying when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
To try to prevent any sort of... I had a point.
Cohesive Jedi Order.
Yeah.
Some semblance
But
of
to
it.
me, it just felt abandoned after this.
Yeah, and I do think maybe that's because we only see 2 Inquisitors.
That's true.
I don't know what the other ones are doing. If they're doing this, like, was it just their mission that time?
I'm
to
sure
go
it
get
wasn't.
The kid?
Yeah, I love this episode because, like I said, I just loved the interactions between, Zeb, Kanan, and Ezra, and the little Pipey baby. Pipey is so cute. And I have to mention this. I don't know if you caught it. There's a moment where they're trying to re-strategize. It's after they've planted the comm link and everything. And Kanan walks in to, I guess, not a room, but like a hallway where Zeb and Ezra are. And in the background, Kanan and Zeb are discussing what they should do next. In the background, you see Ezra holding Pipey, and she's kind of going and making faces at it. And it's so adorable.
I need to go back and find that, because I wasn't paying attention to the background in that moment, I guess.
Because he's trying to calm him down still, and he's like doing little faces, and I just thought it was so cute.
That's so sweet.
But, I'm glad that the baby survived. No baby killing in this episode.
No, thank God. Allura, that's another thing, is like, well, that makes sense, actually. I was going to say, why did they not take Allura where they were supposed to go and then go get Pipey? But, I don't know. It's like they had a creepy, like, school bus that they were, like, building. Like, all these children are going to sit on our tie, and I do raise questions about their safety. Like, how are you gonna get babies in a tie and then be
I know
strapped down?
they left little, what's her name? The baby they first
Alora,
captured.
I think is
They
her
left her
name.
just chilling in the seat when Chopper and Zeb found
And they
her.
were a little snuggy, so she can't really move much.
I'm like, oh, she probably need to be changed. Did you think that? Because I did.
I thought that about Pipey. There were several moments that he could have totally went to the bathroom on himself because of everything that was happening.
Like, maybe that's why he was crying. He needs to be changed.